Good morning, everybody, and welcome on into Wake Up and Ball right here on Roundtable Sports Network. Today, we got a special guest, Mr. Ruben himself, our Houston Texans creator. And the funny thing is, Ruben was supposed to join the show regardless of TD not being able to make it because we have a special announcement that Ruben is going to be a special guest on Wake Up and Ball every single Wednesday, joining TD and myself, talking all things sports. But then TD called me this morning and said, "Hey, Richie, I'm not going to make it to Wake Up Ball. I got Ruben to fill in for me." Well, guess what? Ruben's here regardless. Ruben, morning, my friend. Great to have you, bro.
What is going on? I'm happy to be here on this beautiful Wednesday morning. Man, let's get it going.
Let's get it going. Indeed, everybody hit the like button on your way into the show because we're excited to launch Wake Up and Ball. We're live Monday, Wednesday, and Friday mornings, and we got a lot of things going on across the NFL and the NBA world right now. Oh, man, we already got people talking their trash, not the Knicks. All right, well, today's topics are who are the real contenders in the NFL and the NBA. So we're going to get into all of that. And shout out to everybody that's tuning in. Justin, Eric, of course, in the chat. Hit the like button on your way into the show. We appreciate it. Brandon's saying 713.
Shout out to Brandon.
Oh, man. Matthew's in the chat. What's good, everybody? What is good? Good morning, everybody. So the first thing I want to talk about with you is actually an impromptu breaking news topic that has something to do with what happened this morning in the NFL world. All right. Okay. So let's get into that because we have some breaking news in the Aaron Rodgers saga, Ruben. It seems like the Minnesota Vikings are sticking with J.J. McCarthy as their quarterback number one, and it does not seem like they're going to be pursuing Aaron Rodgers because that's the latest we were waiting to see. Is Aaron going to go to Minnesota or Pittsburgh or the Giants? And as of right now, seems like Minnesota is gun set on their quarterback number one being J.J. McCarthy, not pursuing Aaron Rodgers. Do you think this is the smart move for Minnesota?
Yeah, I do. I think you got to go with your first round draft pick and with Coach Kevin O'Connell, man. You know that he loves to develop these quarterbacks. And I think it's time for Minnesota, to go young. They spent years just trying to go after, these veteran quarterbacks. And they recently just had a whole long stretch with Kirk Cousins. And now when you think about Aaron Rodgers in the Vikings uniform, right, you think about Brett Favre. Oh, they're tied together. But I think it is smarter for Minnesota to go with to go with J.J. McCarthy, see what Kevin O'Connell could do for him. And, dude, this is just sad now with Aaron Rodgers, right? It's just like, where is he going to go? Who wants him? Well, we know the two, Pittsburgh and New York, but Aaron Rodgers, man, was one of the guys that got me in love with football. The only other Texans, the only other NFL jersey I have, Richie, is an Aaron Rodgers Green Bay Packers shirt.
Really? So you're an Aaron Rodgers fan?
It's my guy. And I'm
wow.
Just like,
so do you think he's going to go to Pittsburgh, the Giants, or retire? I mean, come on. He's not going to the Giants. Let's keep it a buck, bro.
No, he's not going to the Giants. Who would want to go there? Who would want to go to the Giants? But you look at Steelers, you look at DK Metcalf, you look at George Pickens, you look at Coach Tomlin, and that that beautiful steel curtain. I would not mind seeing Aaron Rodgers in Pittsburgh. And here's the thing: he's not pushing Mike Tomlin the way he pushed Robert Saleh. Mike Tomlin, he has his pelts on the wall. He has a Super Bowl. He doesn't have a losing season. It could be interesting to see Aaron Rodgers, in that black and yellow. But I think he does go to, to Pittsburgh. Just another year of Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, bro. Pittsburgh is an interesting team to talk about because they missed out on bringing back Justin Fields. And we found out recently that the Pittsburgh Steelers put out an aggressive offer to Justin Fields, but he chose the Jets instead.
How do you feel about that?
I thought that was very interesting. I ain't gonna lie, man. I mean, listen, hearing Justin Fields picking the New York Jets over the Pittsburgh Steelers is a little eye-opening. I'm not gonna lie, because I think the only reason I think that's why Justin Fields did it, money was not the thing there, Ruben. I think it was more about, in my perspective, my interpretation of Justin Fields picking the Jets over the Steelers. The Steelers, first of all, they benched Justin Fields. So that Fields feels some type of way about that. Hey, I was 4-2 with you, 10 total touchdowns, 1 interception, winning football, you benched me. And I don't like that. And the Pittsburgh Steelers, they kind of have an established identity, an established culture. They win. And let's be honest, if Justin Fields went back to Pittsburgh and they went to the playoffs with Justin Fields and they get bounced in round one, Who is Justin Fields in this league? He's just another Mason Rudolph, another Kenny Pickett, another one of those quarterbacks that could win. But if he goes to the Jets and he wins 10 games and goes to the playoffs, he is the king of the city. So my point is the Jets don't have a culture. We don't have an identity. We're trying to build that with Aaron Glenn. And I think he saw an opportunity with the Jets where, hey, if I go there and buy into this new system, buy into this new team that Aaron Glenn's trying to establish here and be a part of the turnaround, that's going to make me find my home for the future. Whereas Pittsburgh, I don't know if that's going to be his franchise home because Pittsburgh keeps having a carousel. What's your thoughts of that?
And here's the thing, right? And you've seen these former first round quarterbacks, right, start to figure it out late. We had the Sam Darnold thing in Minnesota. We had the Baker Mayfield resurgence with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Who's to say this doesn't happen with Justin Fields? However, like you mentioned, there is no culture. There is no winning culture up there in New York. So it's like he's going to have to not only build his own culture, but just, do something that the New York Jets really haven't really done in like decades, is just play winning football. But like you said, if he gets it done, if he gets them to the playoffs, if he gets 9-10 wins, he is the king of the city. Yeah. It's going to be talked about everywhere. And once again, we're going to have another, this is why you don't give up on a first round quarterback, because now look what he is doing with another team.
And what's your thoughts of Justin Fields in terms of just like his time with Chicago, Pittsburgh, with the Jets? Like, do you think he could be one of those quarterbacks like the Sam Darnold of the world, Geno, Baker, where he could be a franchise guy, just needs another chance? Like, what's your evaluation of Justin Fields as a player in the NFL?
I think his intangibles are what you love. A mobile quarterback with the arm who could fit it, wherever he wants to. The only thing is you have to get consistent play out of Justin Fields. And who's your guys' offensive coordinator with Aaron Glenn?
We got Tanner Engstrand, who is the passing game coordinator under Ben Johnson with the Lions.
Okay, well, that should excite you, right? You want an OC who has some history calling plays. And this is the thing with young quarterbacks, and I'm going through this also with CJ Stroud, is when you don't have a offensive-minded head coach, you're going to have a carousel of these offensive coordinators, of these new old guys. But I think Justin Fields, man, if given a roster, if given time to mess up and really not let the New York Jets media get to them, because we've seen it time and time before, he might work out. And like Doug said, right, Fields is your bridge, but if he takes you to the playoffs, man, you can start having those conversations. Did we get a guy?
And that's why, in my opinion, Ruben, it's a low risk, high reward. Worst case scenario, he's the bridge quarterback. He doesn't play well, and then we draft the guy next year. Best case scenario, he balls, and he's the quarterback one for the future. So that's kind of how I look at it with the New York Jets and Justin Fields. We did not ink him to a long-term deal. If he does not play well, the Jets don't succeed with him, we can easily get out of the contract and move on and go into next year's draft class, which is loaded with quarterbacks. This year's draft class, not so much. So we shall see. But let's move it on from the New York Jets, because I want to get into your Houston Rockets. How about that? This is a wake up and ball. This is some NBA talk. I want to talk about the Houston Rockets because they're a fun team, Ruben. They are a fun team. 6-game winning streak. I mean, they have climbed up to the 2nd seed in the Western Conference. I mean, Sengun, Jalen Green, the head coach over there, one of the best in the league, in my opinion. Your thoughts of the Houston Rockets? Do they have a chance to make a run in the Western Conference playoffs?
I think they do, because we've seen this Houston Rockets team over the course of the season get the number 2 seed, lose the number 2 seed, fall all the way back to 4-5, then work their way back up to the number 2 seed in the West. Coach Ime has these boys fighting, and I absolutely love the new identity of the Rockets. You're not going to push these guys around. Not only do you have to give credit to Coach Ime, but who they brought in, Dylan Brooks, I think he has shaped the attitude, the mentality of these young Rockets. And look, they're scary. They're flying everywhere. They play defense. And you brought up Jalen. You brought up Sengun. What about Amen Thompson, who is going to be a star in this league in just a couple of seasons? We got the cocaine cowboy, Reed Shepherd, currently, on IR, but when he comes back, I am excited for what he does. These Rockets, man, they are impressing everyone. They just came back down 25 points against the Philadelphia 76ers. Your former New York Knicks Quentin Grimes goes absolutely off for 40 plus. Rockets come back, force it into overtime, get the dub there. Dude, they're shocking a lot of people right now.
Yeah, they're a fun team because I feel like, I mean, I think they're a season or two away from being a legit contender.
Fair. I agree.
But this is like a breakout season for them to kind of show that they are trending in the right direction. It's been a minute since Houston's been relevant, since their James Harden days. And I feel like them being 44-25 right now and a 7-game winning streak. I mean, and you look at the standings that I brought up. You got Denver and the Lakers and even Memphis all in a bunch. Like you can, if you lose 2 games in a row, you drop to the 5th seed. So we're in the backstretch of the NBA season heading into the playoffs, which is going to be a lot of fun. And the Warriors are red hot too. They can easily jump up and all of a sudden get there.
Disgusting.
I know. The addition of Jimmy Butler has changed the entire identity of that Warriors team. The Timberwolves have also been playing really good basketball as of late. When Randall came back, all of a sudden, they're 8-2 in the last 10 games. Clippers are winning 4 in a row. The Western Conference is a very, very interesting discussion to have across the NBA. But I want to get your thoughts of who's the real contenders in the NBA. Because you look at the East, right? You got the Cleveland Cavaliers, who actually lost 2 in a row, got blown out recently, but they're on a 15-game winning streak, and that got snapped. You got Boston as the defending champions with 50 wins, and the New York Knicks sitting there with their unfortunate injury to Jalen Brunson. Hopefully he can get back at 43-24. You look at the Eastern Conference, you look at the West. If you would give me 5 teams that are legit NBA championship contenders, who would it be?
Okay, let's start with the East. Let's go with the top 3 up there. Cavaliers, Celtics, Knicks. The 4 team that I would head to is the Bucks. That's where I would go to. I'm not really bought in to Indiana just yet. And with that, I'm gonna show the Detroit Pistons some love. Coach J.B. Bickerstaff, former Houston Rockets assistant coach. He had to, step in when there were some firings. He is building the culture of that young team. You saw him just a couple of days ago rip the NBA refs. And how do you not love that? Cade Cunningham has a bright future in this league. They just need to learn how to grow up like the Houston Rockets did. And then we could start to see them have some success. But I'll go Cavaliers, Celtics, Knicks, Bucks, and Pistons.
So no Knicks? No, you said Knicks.
Yeah, I said Knicks. I said no Pacers. I'm not a fan of Tyrese Halliburton.
All right, I like that. And the one thing I'm gonna say, if the season ended today, the Knicks would face off against Detroit in round 1, and I'm not gonna lie, that scares me. I mean, the Knicks should win that because we are the favorites as a 3rd seed. But the Detroit Pistons are young, and they have that like upset feel, and I don't know. I'm not gonna get into that, but when you go into the Western Conference, it's a little more loaded. OKC is this finally their year to get over the hump and get to the NBA Finals. The Los Angeles Lakers without LeBron James, they've been still winning the last few games, but Luka Doncic going there has been just changed the entire outlook of the NBA. Who do you got coming out of the West this year?
It's hard not to say those first 4 are locked in, and I'm just, thinking, who would I rather have, the Grizzlies or the Warriors? But how can you not go with the Warriors, who ever since Jimmy Butler, I think they've only lost 1 game. They still got Curry. They still got all that championship pedigree. You have to put the Warriors up there. So I'll go Thunder, Rockets, Nuggets, Lakers, and Warriors. But I cannot believe I'm talking about the Rockets being a contender.
Yeah. The Rockets up there, man. Hey, you got to give them the love. And we got Dose of Dion in the chat saying Wizards are tough.
Shout out to Dose of Dion.
The Wizards, 15-52. Look at that. I mean, I know Dose of Dion's a big NBA fan. Okay. No, he's not. Dose of Dion, man, you got to watch your Pistons. Come on, if you're a Lions fan. What are you talking about, Wizards? Isn't he a Wizards fan? I don't even remember. Let me know, Dose of Dion. You a Wizards fan? I forgot what you told me. But as a hater, man, I'm not going to lie. I'm enjoying this Miami Heat 8-game losing streak and them falling below, and also the Philadelphia Sixers stinking it up as well, and the Brooklyn Nets. I'm on hater watch. You know that. Absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. So that's really what we got to talk about the NBA. Now I want to get your thoughts of a sleeper team in the NBA, because we talked about the top of the teams. I mean, are the Rockets the sleeper team? Are the Pistons the sleeper team? The Orlando Magic, I think they could be a sleeper team if healthy. Their issue has been injuries all season long. If there was a team that no one sees coming to make a run in the postseason, who you got be that sleeper team?
Well, let me ask you a question. I know we talked about them being legit, but this is the first time the Houston Rockets are in this situation in a very long time. And they're going from, really last to almost, first in this league. Very young. I wonder if other, teams take these young Houston Rockets very serious, Richie. And that's kind of how I feel like with a lot of young teams, like we also talked about with the Detroit Pistons and Amon Thompson's twin, Asor Thompson,
Yeah.
is there with Cade Cunningham. I just wonder what the established teams do they view these young bucks as like a threat to them, which is why I like the Rockets, which is why I like, the Pistons, even the Hawks. I know they're, -3 right now in terms of games, but who's to say they don't make a run later? And as you mentioned, the Magic with Paulo Banchero, they just got to be healthy and they can make stuff shake.
Yeah, I mean the young teams are an interesting teams to talk about, the sleeper ones, and Detroit is definitely one that I'm looking at as a sleeper, and then of course the Rockets. I think the only issue with the youth, in my opinion, is when it comes playoff time, man. I think that's going to be a negative. I think playoffs you have to live off experience in order to thrive, in my
Fair.
opinion. And I feel like, you're going up against the Denver Nuggets, for example. I mean, that is a powerhouse in the playoffs that has championship experience. The Lakers with LeBron and Luka, that is championship pedigree. The Warriors in the playoffs, they have all the experience in the absolute world. OKC, they're still technically young. They don't really have a lot of playoff experience yet. So that's an interesting
I
one
think
there.
they're going to get humbled, though. I don't think Shea's going to get those calls that he gets in the regular season.
You don't got OKC going far?
Not that, not that they won't go far, but I think the refs whistles, they're going to put them in their pockets a little bit, this postseason. We are not but like there's been a lot of complaining about, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander and how he gets to the free throw line consistently. So I wonder if, come playoff time, the refs start to, call playoff basketball.
And I got to bring up the Knicks real quick as a sleeper team because I don't know if you've noticed this, but there's a lot of hate on my New York Knicks.
There's been hate for like 30 years, bro.
No, but like this year, bro, like the Knicks are 43-24. And as a Knicks fan, we've not been good like this for a while. And it's refreshing that, you're like, oh, I can't believe my Rockets are where they are. Like, I feel that way about the Knicks, even though it's been 3 years in of this kind of run. But everyone's not giving the Knicks a chance to go on a run in the playoffs. And I get it. We haven't beat the Celtics with the Cavs once in the NBA a regular season. But with the healthy Jalen Brunson and Mitchell Robinson now back, the Knicks are second in the NBA in defensive rating with Mitchell Robinson coming back. OG Anunoby is an absolute menace defensively. Mikal Bridges is now stepping in for Jalen Brunson and playing pretty good basketball. Why is everybody just completely like counting out the Knicks? Like the Knicks are a forgotten thought as a legit threat. Is it because they don't feel like they could ever get past Boston and Cleveland in a playoff series? Like, is that why?
I will say that, and also because it's the Knicks, right? There's always this running joke that the Knicks will always choke. I mean, hell, even in that what was it, that Disney movie, where they have all the emotions in her head, right? She was like, "Oh, I've been messing with this team for decades, and it's the New York Knicks, and they lost the game." So, I mean, I just think it's that mental barrier, that is built in people's head. No matter how good this New York Knicks team, they are gonna fail you at the end of the day. Kind of feels like that with the New York Jets also. But this is where I think, the New York Knicks, Nikki, they have to, they have to change the mentality of the people. They got to do it themselves because for 50, 60 plus years, we've seen the Knicks, man, not, be on the wrong side of some history.
They just got to stay healthy, Ruben. Like last year, we got to the second round. We're up 2-0 against Indiana. OG Anunoby gets injured. Mitchell Robinson's now injured. We don't got Randall last year, and then we lose in 7 to the Pacers, not being able to get over the hump to the Eastern Conference Finals. And now our clutch player of the year, Jalen Brunson, who's having an absolute phenomenal season. He goes down with a sprained ankle. It's so frustrating. And I really believe this Knicks team fully healthy, Jalen Brunson is that dude. And I think that with Karl-Anthony Towns and the defensive ability of OG and Bridges, Josh Hart having a career season, triple-double machine, Mitchell Robinson off the bench, keep sleeping on my Knicks, man. I'm really excited to see what they're going to be able to do in the playoffs if they're fully healthy. But I'm not gonna lie, man. The Detroit Pistons in round 1 do scare me because I think that's a team that has sleeper alert all over it. So we shall see. We shall see.
They just got to be like they just can't let their emotions get the best of them, because we've seen like multiple times now where they just start yelling at the refs and start trying to get into fights, and
Yeah.
And that's kind of what the Rockets too. Like every loss the Rockets have, we're always blaming the refs or blaming something else. But that just, we just got to mature as young teams.
And that's okay. You got to learn from something. Folks, hit that thumbs up button. We're live with Ruben here on Wake Up and Ball. TD's taking the morning off, but TD will be back on Friday. Don't forget to smash the thumbs up button, folks. We really do appreciate you guys tuning into the show, and subscribe to Ruben's channel. Link is in the description. Speaking of Ruben's channel, as you guys know, he is a Houston Texans creator. So let's talk about your Houston Texans, man, because last year they were hyped. We talk about hype. I mean, talk about the hype. Houston's hype was off the charts. You talk about the most hyped up team in the offseason last year. It was the Houston Texans, in my opinion. You get Stephon Diggs, you get Joe Mixon, CJ Stroud, sensational rookie year. They win a playoff game with a rookie quarterback. D'Amico Ryans is your coach of the future. You get all this talent. And then you go into this season last year, and you start off slow. CJ Stroud came back down to earth. You're a little slow, but then eventually you still won the division, and you still won a playoff game when you really look at it in hindsight. So you kind of had the same season as last year. So can the Houston Texans improve this upcoming season? Not only are you going to win the division again, which I'm sure you're expecting, but you got to get over the hump. And also, I want to get your thoughts of the Derek Stingley contract, because boy, oh boy, did he get paid. And now I got to worry about Sauce getting that same money. So what's your thoughts of the Houston Texans going into the season? You know who.
Let's get one thing straight, right? The better cornerback got drafted first, and that was Derek Stingley. They're in an entirely different stratosphere.
Are you kidding?
Stingley's right here, and Sauce is somewhere down here.
Hey, they've been in the league for 3 years, Ruben. Sauce has 2 better seasons, and Stingley's got 1, and it's a recency bias. That's all I hear.
It's not. It's all because of health, and just wait. As time progresses, we're gonna see more All Pros from Mr. Derek Stingley. Look, man, he's
first-team All-Pros for Mr. Sauce Gardner. 1 All-Pro for Derek Stingley. Stay healthy, man. It's a part of the game.
Yeah, and that's and that's only been it for Derek Stingley, man. Is whether or not he can be healthy. And this year he showed you he can. And All-Pro type of season, 5 interceptions. The Texans, I am very excited. However, I'm very worried, and that is because of the offensive line. CJ Stroud was the second most sacked quarterback in the NFL. Now you take away one of the best left tackles in the league in Laramie Tunsil. That's one of the one things I am concerned about, is the offensive line and wide receiver depth. On the defensive side, I'm set. The Houston Texans have a Super Bowl caliber defense. They're going to have one of the best secondaries in the NFL. Derek Stingley, CJ Gardner-Johnson, Kamari Lassiter, Kalen Bullock. All of those guys had at least 3 interceptions last season. Then you got 2 double-digit sack guys in Will Anderson Jr. and Danielle Hunter, Richie. The only thing I'm concerned about is, like Patrick said right there, Texas need to protect their quarterback.
Yeah, and that's something I want to ask you. And big shout out to Miami Vibes, by the way, for the $2 super sticker. Is that LeBron James in there? Look at that.
Yeah, it's LeBron James.
Thank you for the $2 super chat. We could say the GOAT. No, we're not going to get there. We're not going to get there. Thank you for the $2 super chat, my man. We appreciate it. But, bro, I mean, what's the philosophy behind trading Laramie Tunsil? I know he was coming off a little down year. He had some penalties and stuff. But, like, what's their plan? Because that's a guy that you want to build around, in my opinion, on the offensive line, not ship away.
I'm a Laramie Tunsil fan, Richie. And, like when I saw the news, I understood why they did it, because they're going to have to make a decision about whether or not to pay Laramie Tunsil in just a couple of years. Laramie Tunsil, for those who don't know, he negotiates his own contracts. Like, he's like his own agent. And the one thing about Laramie Tunsil, and if there's any Commanders fans watching, you're going to love him, except for when he false starts. And Richie, he false started almost every other game since he got in Houston. And he had 19 penalties this year, which led the league. However, I have said this time and time after again, in regards to Laramie Tunsil, I don't care how many false starts he gives me, because I know when it's against the Micah Parsons of the world, against the Myles Garretts, Laramie Tunsil will shut them down. And for the past 5, 6, 7 years since he's been in Houston, the problem has never came from the right side. And another reason why the Texans made this move is because of, culture, locker room. Laramie Tunsil, I'm not going to say he's not a locker room guy, but DeMeco Ryans, he preaches the swarm mentality, which is special work ethic and relentless mindset. And it didn't seem like Laramie Tunsil fit that swarm mentality. You know, he doesn't practice. He is a veteran. We heard even CJ Stroud say that. So they want to, you know, have a new culture in that O-line room. And, you know, they had to trade away Laramie Tunsil. I wish him the very best. The Commanders are going to absolutely love him. But like I said, until he starts false starting.
Until he starts false starting, man.
And that's his only problem, Rich. Like that is his only problem. I think his pressured rate allowed was only 3% from the left side.
Really?
Like when it comes to pass protection, Laramie Tunsil is one of the best in the business, but you will get those 10, 11 penalties, from the false starts or illegal formations. He won't try in the run game, but he'll give a solid effort. And like Brandon said, Brandon's from Houston here with me. He skips practices and he doesn't run block.
So now, what's the plan at the offensive line? And you look at what pick you guys got in the first round?
So we had the 25th overall pick in the first round. Right now, our left tackle is supposed to be Titus Howard, and Titus Howard has been with the Houston Texans for a very long time. Comfortable with him at there. Your rookie last year at right tackle was Blake Fisher. He's entering year 2. Your interior, I don't know what the hell they are going to do because they signed Laken
those offensive line to pick in the first round. You would say?
I would love for them to get a Kelvin Banks, a Josh Simmons.
Did you say you signed Laken Tomlinson?
Yes, bro. We signed Laken from former Jet. We also traded for Ed Ingram, and both of those two were regarded as some of the worst guards this year. Yeah. So it's like, what are we doing here? I just feel like we are putting our quarterback at risk, and you already saw him be the second most sacked quarterback in the NFL. Now now you traded away Laramie and you brought in 2 guys.
Yeah, and you're coming from last year's offseason, from building around CJ, adding Mixon, adding Diggs, like all these things. Diggs is not coming back. Tank Dell's not expected to be back.
I don't know. I don't know.
You think there's a chance that Diggs comes back?
It feels like he would have been signed already, no? It feels like, we would have heard, all right, maybe even some interest from another team. We love Stephon Diggs here in Houston. CJ Stroud loves him. DeMeco loves him. Even our general manager, Nick Caserio, said that if the money makes sense, we are open to a return. And I'm just, I'm putting my fingers up like this. What if Stephon Diggs wants to, finish what he started? Because no one wants to end on the miss. No one wants to end on a torn ACL. And when he got to Houston, man, everyone was saying he's going to ruin your locker room. He did everything but that. There was a training camp practice where we were there in attendance, Richie, and it was raining bad. He stopped practice. He starts telling everyone this is not up to standards. Boys got back on it. Was working out with guys who didn't even make the Houston Texans 53-man roster. So hopefully he comes back. I would absolutely love that.
And if he doesn't come back, who the heck is your number 2 receiver? I mean, you
Christian
don't have.
Kirk.
Oh yeah. I forgot. You guys got Christian Kirk in the building. Okay,
we're making moves, Papa. We brought
Nico Collins getting paid.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And I feel like that contract is pretty darn good. You look at the numbers on the contract compared to the market right now. I love that deal. Nico Collins is a dog. And Christian Kirk, I think you guys flipping him for a 7th round pick instead of him going on the open market, getting him in the building. I like Christian Kirk. And then if you get, Dalton Schultz still over there. CJ Stroud, man, what an interesting character, because I feel like he has the ability to break out into one of the league's best quarterbacks in the league. But then you look at what the Texans are doing around him. I'm like questioning it, bro, because you got to beef up that offensive line before anything else.
Fair. Look, and here's the thing that people don't realize. In the Super Bowl, the pressure rate that Patrick Mahomes faced that night, CJ Stroud faced a higher pressure rate the entire season. He was running for his life, yet he was still able to get these Houston Texans in the playoffs and dominate the Los Angeles Chargers at home, who no one gave them a chance to beat, by the way, smacked them at home. You had the highest paid offensive line in the NFL. It didn't work out. So you traded away Lermy. You cut Shaq Mason. You traded away Kenyon Green. You're banking on what they new offensive scheme, new offensive coordinator, Nick Kelly, some grinders in the offensive line. Maybe they're not world beaters, all pros, but maybe they give a damn. And that's why they want to go out there and protect CJ Stroud. So, we're trying to figure it out, Richie, on the offensive line.
Yeah, that's an interesting discussion you guys got there. And I'm curious your thoughts of the current state of the AFC South, right? You're two-time AFC South champions, back-to-back seasons. Do you have any worry that you're not going to win this year? Is there anybody in the division that you feel like got better that you're worried about? Or no?
No, man. We're going to get a three-peat. The Colts don't even know who's going to be their quarterback. Anthony Richardson.
Daniel Jones.
Hey, dude, Derek better pray it isn't Daniel Jones, because I will roast. I mean, dude, we're talking about one of the biggest busts of the last 10 years in Anthony Richardson, number 4 overall, and just hasn't shown anything as far as a franchise quarterback. The Jacksonville Jaguars, hey, new head coach Duval. We'll see what they got, but not worried about them. And then the Tennessee Titans, dear God, as long as they have Amy Adams up there who looks like a piece of chewing gum, I'm not worried about them whatsoever.
Piece of chewing gum, man. That's crazy. So I want to get your thoughts of the real contenders in the NFL.
Okay.
Not pretenders. You look at last year is last year, but we're entering a new season. We're in a new league year. And I want to get your thoughts of the teams that you feel like are actually going to be threats to win the whole thing. Maybe there's a contender that no one sees coming. Mm-hmm. What's your thoughts? I mean, like, what are some teams out there in the NFL that you feel like are legit Super Bowl contenders after seeing what the Philadelphia Eagles were able to do last year?
I mean, you just have to look at the top 3, I think, in the AFC, the Chiefs, the Ravens, the Bills. I think those are your for sure. These guys can go in and win you a Super Bowl. I think that's the tier for the AFC. And then there's like the Houston Texans and, 4 through 8 or 4 through 12 on the list right there. In the NFC, I mean, how can you not go back with the Eagles? But what about the Detroit Lions, man? Do they finally?
People are sleeping on them because of their coaching getting plucked away.
I mean, you lose Aaron Glenn. You lose one of the bright offensive minds in Ben Johnson. But what you have is Dan Campbell. And guys, people will run through a brick wall for Dan Campbell. And culture is a huge part of success also. And Dan Campbell, believe it or not, has built a culture, a winning culture in Detroit. It would not shock me if they do something good this year.
What are your thoughts of the Cincinnati Bengals paying Jamar Chase and T. Higgins at the same exact time? Because that was a big news. Do you have them as contenders now or pretenders because of their defensive issues? Like, what was your thoughts of giving those two guys the bags at the same exact time?
Wasn't their defense like the worst in NFL history last season?
Yeah, it was pretty bad. I
mean, it doesn't matter how good your offense is. If you can't protect anyone, if you can't stop anyone from scoring and it's just high scoring, I don't think that's a recipe of success. There's a reason, Richie, why the old heads say defense wins championships. And hey, we saw a Philadelphia Eagles defense absolutely terrorize Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl. I like that they got the deal done for both these wide receivers. I think both these guys in their own are wide receiver 1 superstar type of guys. But now, you're financially tied to Joe, Chase, Higgins, and I heard they want to try to bring back Trey Hendrickson after they allowed him to request a trade. You got to worry about the defense, man. So maybe you draft well, but worried about the defense for Cincinnati.
So would you put them in contenders or pretenders? Because let's be honest, they're the only team that has been able to beat the Chiefs in the playoffs to get to the Super Bowl out of all the teams in the AFC. You mentioned the Ravens. You mentioned the Bills. Neither the Ravens or the Bills have ever beat the Chiefs in the playoffs to get over the hump.
But how long ago was that?
2 or 3 years ago?
Yeah, 2-3 years. It's about what have you done for me lately? And lately we were talking about how high powered their offense is, but the defense, one of the worst we've ever seen. So I don't want to call them pretenders, but like I said, there's like that tier of who you know for sure they're going to be talking about: Buffalo, Kansas City, and Baltimore, and then the rest are going to be they're trying to get to that, echelon.
Folks, we got Ruben joining the show every Wednesday on Wake Up and Ball, folks, which is very exciting. TD is still going to be part of the show Wednesdays, but he couldn't make it this morning. So on Wednesdays, you can expect myself with TD and Ruben at the same exact time. And we're excited to have you, Ruben, on the program. Very exciting times, man. We got to get a third opinion on here because TD kind of drives me nuts sometimes. I'm not going to lie. He does drive me nuts. And I think we can all understand why. I want to get your thoughts of Sam Darnold going to the Seattle Seahawks because I may or may not have a bias for my boy Sam.
Okay.
And I think everybody's doubting him. And I think their addition of Cooper Kupp is only going to help.
Yes.
What's your thoughts of them getting Cooper Kupp and, of course, bringing home Sam Darnold? Is the Seattle Seahawks a threat to win the NFC West division or go to the playoffs? Are they going to be better with Sam or not as good without Geno? What's your thoughts of the Seattle Seahawks now?
I feel like they might be better with Sam at quarterback, versus Geno Smith. I do like they bring in Cooper Kupp and they still have JSN up there. I don't want to call them contenders just yet, but I think we should be keeping an eye on what Seattle does. And, Sam Darnold, he has a lot to prove. He is the guy up there now. Like you are the starting quarterback. You don't have to go against anyone. This is your team. We brought you in Cooper Kupp. Let's see what you could do. But this does feel like a bridge move. You brought in Sam Darnold. You brought in Cooper Kupp. See what you have in these veterans until you blow it up and restart.
Yeah, and if you look at the structure of the contract, they could get out of it pretty easily after the first year. So it does feel like a bridge move. But if Sam balls out, then they got Sam for another 2 years on a very reasonable contract. So interesting to see how it all works out there for the Seattle Seahawks. The Atlanta Falcons are deciding to keep Kirk Cousins on a really big contract as the backup.
Why?
That's an interesting philosophy. I guess it's just insurance behind Penix. $10 million roster bonus just to be a backup. Like, what are they doing?
Just idiots, man. Like, even when they drafted Michael Penix, right, we were like, what are you doing? You just brought in Kirk Cousins, and then you draft a 32, you're obviously not 32, but you draft a 25, 26-year-old rookie, and then you see the moment where the GM is trying to explain to the owner using his hands like this, and now it's like, what are you doing up there? Do you believe in Michael or not? Because I don't think it's smart for any team to keep that type of contract, and have them be a backup quarterback. I'm not understanding what's going on.
Me neither. I don't get it either. Maybe the Atlanta Falcons know something that we don't know. I have no idea. I'm kidding. If Penix goes out there and balls out, no one's going to be questioning it, but it is a very expensive backup. Nobody pays that type of money for a backup quarterback. Let's just keep it a buck here.
So you think he's starting or what?
What'd you say?
So you think like Kirk Cousins is gonna have an opportunity to start later on in the season, or
unless Penix is bad or he gets hurt. I mean, that's the only path he has to go out there and play, because Michael Penix was a first-round pick and he sat and learned behind Kirk. He got the starting gig at the end of the season, chance to make the playoffs, and I think that they're giving the keys to Penix. And if they have to go back to Kirk Cousins, that tells you all you need to know about Michael Penix.
I mean, they don't have a choice, right?
Michael Penix. I don't know. So there's some top remaining NFL free agents, and you see the head of it. It's your boy Stephon Diggs is the leader of it. I feel like there's a big opportunity for a lot of these teams to still land in free agency. So I want to get your thoughts of who are the better names out there. The Jets actually just brought in wide receiver Rondale Moore for a visit, former second-round pick from the Arizona Cardinals. The Jets need wide receiver help next to Garrett Wilson because we don't really have much around Garrett Wilson with the departure of Devontae Adams. But Rondale Moore isn't a great free agent remaining. He had a lot of injuries to deal with. So I wanted to get your thoughts of the top remaining free agents. Right here, you see the list on your screen. There's a lot of them. There's a lot. There's a nice Roundtable Sports graphic. What do you think, man? Where are these guys going to go? Why are they still not signed?
Okay, let's go. Obviously, as I predicted, Stephon Diggs, he goes back to Houston. Julian Blackmon, I don't know, but not good for the Indianapolis Colts last year. Derek was always complaining about the Indianapolis Colts secondary. Amari Cooper, I'm not sure what does he have left in the tank. All these old wide receivers, man, they feel like a Kansas City, Tennessee, or Baltimore type of move, right? Because that's where wide receivers go to die. Very surprised by Asante Samuel Jr. I know he's quite not like his dad, but I feel like he could be a number 2 corner, quality depth piece. Tevin Jenkins, the guard. Why haven't the Houston Texans brought him in? Russell Wilson. Where do you think Russell goes?
Yeah, I saw him potentially get linked to the Tennessee Titans, which is very interesting.
That's where careers go to die. Which is
Well,
why,
do you think that was smart if they draft Cam Ward and bring in Russell Wilson to have a veteran in there and competition, or I don't know.
Wouldn't mind that. Justin Simmons, dude, I wanted the Texans to get him last year, but we just got C.J. Gardner-Johnson, so we are good on that.
There's a typo. Rasul Douglas is not a wide receiver. He's a quarter.
Hey, I would love J.K. Dobbins on the Houston Texans. J.K. Dobbins, man, coming off of some Achilles injuries, finally healthy. I think he had about 900 yards with the Los Angeles Chargers. Having Joe Mixon and having a Joe Mixon. I just lost where his name was.
J.K. Dobbins?
Yeah, having a Joe Mixon and a J.K. Dobbins would excite me. I thought Tyler Lockett was going to Las Vegas.
Yeah, that would make a lot of sense. I mean, you talk
Right,
about the
Pete
Seattle
Carroll's
Raiders. The Seattle Raiders. I think that, like, what are your thoughts of the Raiders? You think that they're going to just pay Geno long-term and make him their guy, or are they going to go into the draft? And I saw Geno hanging out with Shedeur Sanders. I don't know if that's something where, hey, maybe Geno Smith's on the Raiders. Maybe they still want to draft Shedeur, and Shedeur sits behind Geno. I mean, what's your thoughts of Geno Smith going to the Raiders with Pete Carroll? Are they actually going to be a threat? And, like, does Tom Brady see something in Geno?
I just think this is, like a bridge move. You have to, with the new head coach, right? You want to bring in a quarterback who you think is going to give him the best opportunity to get some dubs. And plus, since you have Pete Carroll, you see the obvious connection with Geno Smith, which is why we thought Tyler Lockett was going to go to the Raiders. Also haven't seen that, but I think this is a bridge move. If they do think Shedeur Sanders, I think this would be absolutely a perfect, and have Geno Smith be that, that mentoring quarterback. Because if you go all the way back to Geno Smith's draft, he was there, and he was just seeing everyone get their name called but him. I think he showed up for first night, didn't get selected in the first round, and there is a lot of things that that happen when shit like that, where you see everyone get drafted but you, Richie. And then
I remember being so pumped when the Jets drafted Geno in the second round. I'll never forget that memory.
Then you work your ass off your entire career, and now you're in Seattle, and now you're in Las Vegas. Shout out to Geno Smith for getting there, man. He didn't write back, but I think he could be a perfect mentor for Shedeur Sanders.
He didn't write back. No, he didn't. So you think the Raiders should draft Shedeur, or should they go Ashton Genty at 6?
Ooh.
Like a player that's going to help them win right now and Genty with Geno, or a guy that can, sit and learn in Shedeur. And there is a connection between Shedeur Sanders and Brady. We know that.
I mean, I would still draft Shedeur. I'm not even going to lie to you. Like just the thought of, I have a Sanders just sitting down on the bench, just waiting to make his mark in this league. And I don't know. I've been looking at these mock drafts, Richie. Shedeur Sanders on a lot of them is falling. I think PFF has him like as the 45th prospect and have him going in the second round. Where do you see Shedeur falling?
Yeah, that's crazy. I'm not buying into the drop. I think that Shedeur, this is a quarterback-driven league. I still think he's going to go top 10. I mean, I'd be shocked if he falls out of the top 10. I really, really do. I think the Browns even have a chance to get him. I think that the Giants need a quarterback. I mean, I would be shocked if the Jets get a quarterback that high. I think the Jets may go in the mid-rounds to get someone behind Fields. But I think Jackson Dart is a guy to watch out for in the first round, later in the first round, like the Pittsburgh Steelers. Also, the Seattle Seahawks could go after a guy like Jackson Dart. This is one of the most intriguing draft classes I've seen at the quarterback spot because it's a big unknown, big mystery, it feels like, right?
Yeah, it's a big mystery, but dude, I keep on thinking about that, those tweets that surfaced of every time that the Raiders lost, Shedeur Sanders was tweeting, "Thank you, God." So it's like, maybe we do see Shedeur as a Raider. I think that would be fantastic.
I think that's very, very possible. Very, very possible. All right, folks. Well, Ruben, it's not your Wake Up and Ball debut because you were on the program, like a few weeks ago? Mm-hmm. So we appreciate guys, every single Wednesday, Ruben's going to be joining the show here on Wake Up a Ball with TD Finstock and myself. It's been a pleasure to talk to you about all things NFL and NBA. Baseball season right around the corner as well, which we'll be talking about when that tips off. Tokyo series is well underway if anybody's watching that. But Ruben, thank you for tuning in to Wake Up a Ball. Salute to you. Salute to everybody in the chat. Don't forget to hit the like button. Anything you want to say, Ruben, to the people before we wrap things up, bro?
Hey, man, shout out to everyone who spent their morning with us. Thank y'all for letting me be on. I can't wait to be here next Wednesday and talk some ball.
Absolutely.
Go Astros.
CJ Stroud's been staring at me the whole show, bro. Behind me, over your shoulder.
He wants his get back, man.
Yeah, bro. I mean, come on. We don't face you guys this year, do you? I hope we do.
I hope not. I don't want to go play in New York.
That's an automatic dub for us. We love you guys. Wake Up a Ball's out of here. Hit the like button on your way out and enjoy the rest of your day. Peace.